Morning, everybody. 8:10 a.m. It's December 11th. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Market, ES or SPY in particular, broke out a little bit. Not a crazy breakout. And closed above the previous week's highs to end the week. Market just was in balance, but not a huge breakout. Okay. Qs stayed within their highs and lows of this bracket that is within, so it didn't even really break out. It did move higher. Interesting, just an interesting market. The Dow's kind of just balancing off, and IWM's pretty much been the relatively strongest index now. It used to be the relatively weaker index. That's what's really going on in the market. Today, I might um, go over some of the things I looked at over the weekend and change it up a little bit. Um, we all know there's big data coming out this week. Got CPI, PPI, and you got the FOMC. So that's going to move markets. Um, Probably the market today being a Monday, and that all that news coming up. I don't know how much I expect out of the market today. So we can dive into see what's going on in the market. Without further ado, welcome to my channel. My name is Steven Gonzalez. I use market profile and volume profile to find structure in the market. Also using supply and demand, gam exposure levels, the most traded price of the year, the month, and the week, and the preceding day. All helps me just find structure in the market. I like things that come out really easy to the eye and show you what levels are important. Okay, that's basically what I try to do. And then, make some plays on that. All right. And if you like, hopefully you can subscribe and set an alert. That would mean a lot. If you like what you see, also give me a big thumbs up. That would mean a lot as well. And you can also follow me at X at Gonza719. Okay, we can get right into the futures watch list here. Let's do that. And let's see. We got an elevated VIX. VIX is up 6.32%. The dollar's up 0.16. 10-year yield should rise again. The 30-year bonds are pulling back. Okay, the Dow is pretty much flat, but down 0.05. Russell's down 0.06. ES is down 0.1. Okay, crude's down 0.14. So this is a lot of muted action. All right, taking some froth off Friday, right? Silver's down 0.18. Nasdaq's down 0.22. Gold's down 0.26. 30-year bonds down 0.39. Bitcoin's the big one down 5.34%. Down 5.34%. All right, Ether down 5.4. All right, moving on. Stocks are like the day trade and swing trade. AMD continuing the move, right? But 130 is a monster level. All right, it's also a big positive gamma level in AMD. So that if that takes that out, wow, look out. All right, Netflix up 0.21. Now Netflix, if I have time, really liking Netflix, right? Possibly for that Santa Claus. Okay. Nvidia also. Okay. Let's see. So AMD, Netflix, Nvidia, and then we got a bunch of negative Nancy's over here. So we got Amazon's down 0.79, Microsoft's down 0.8, Google's down over 1%. Okay. BABA, China is just almost having deflation. That market did not do good. They're down 2%. Coin, following Bitcoin respectively, down 3.36%. Okay. Coin had a pullback. That was a nice pullback. Now we're looking at, back to probably not the lows, close to the lows, still above the lows of Friday. Okay. Moving on to top sector stocks. All right. Costco is just a monster. They report earnings this week. All right. Chevron, Walmart, Pep, Johnson & Johnson. Those are all not really doing much. There's not even that much of a laggard with Salesforce and Disney. All right. Now there's some news about Cigna not buying Humana. So that didn't happen. That's pushing Cigna up. Occidental Petroleum just bought something, so they're down a little bit. Let's see here. Moving on to sectors. We got healthcare up 0.26. All right. Semis up 0.22. And the lagger is discretionary, technology, and communications. So Google taking down communication sector. And the strongest index right now is the the Russell. That is the strongest index. And strong is not really strong. It's only up 0.01% pre-market. Okay. So that's really what's going on in the futures. Like I said, I think things are going to be muted. This week on Friday is also quad witching. Okay, so you got options expiration, right, for the monthlies. You got futures options expiration. You got index, SPX, NDX, RUT expiration. And you got the futures, not options, the futures, actual futures rolling over to the next contract. So that's why I call it quad witching. That's going to happen on Friday. Okay, so I didn't roll over today. I'll probably roll over later for the futures. A little more volumes coming in this next contract, so I'm probably going to roll over. I didn't have time to do it this morning, so sometimes rollover weeks are a little wonky with futures. That doesn't affect SPY, meaning SPY doesn't roll over. But sometimes there's a little weirdness going on with the rolling over contracts if you hold a position. So that's that. We can get into right now just the economic calendar here. Okay, give me one sec. Let's go to that because we got power packed week here. Power packed. Okay. So what do we have today? We don't have much but bond auctions. Now Tuesday, core inflation, CPI. All right, real quickly, year over year headline numbers. Forecast 3.1, previous 3.2. Okay, so we're looking for a 0.1 reduction. Core inflation year over year, it looks to stay the same. Okay. Wednesday we have FOMC and PPI in the same day. So the FOMC, no surprise, everybody's expecting no change at all. Okay, no change at all. And then Thursday, retail sales, initial jobless claims. Friday, nothing major. And that's really it. That's the week. All right, so really, it's all about CPI, PPI, and FOMC on Wednesday. So very power packed. Very power packed week. There's new. The only thing I saw, Apple did get a price target raise, but that's not meaning anything to Apple right now because it's down 0.43. All right, it's below that huge level of 195. That's a huge positive gamma level in Apple. Okay. What else? What else? I just want to see if anything came out in financial juice. I mean, Goldman Sachs now. I mean, that doesn't really mean much to me. They always say stuff. That's about it. We can get into daily charts, and then we can get into a little bit of what I'm looking at, what I'm seeing. Okay. Let's move over to the daily charts. All right. So, like I was saying before, let's zoom in a little bit from this swing low here. What I was saying before, you got kind of this wedge here going on here. So we move sideways, and you notice that the bracket was really from about 454 to about 459, and then we moved past that, closed at 460, right? 460.2. Not a huge breakout, but what did you do? You pretty much took out pretty much all these little shorts that were here in these little tight range we were in. Okay, so we took those out, but not a monster move. by any means. So really not monster. Okay. I mean, we did close above the last week's high, right? And that's really it. Nothing crazy. Nothing crazy. So where are we now? We're at 460.09. So we're right at the upper portion of the Friday's range. Okay. So not crazy move. Really not. Really wasn't a crazy move. Okay, let's look at the Qs. Now the Qs really didn't break out. Okay. Now, if you're talking about this little tiny range, all right, you had to move past these shorts. I talked about this 390, all right, because you had shorts, 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 tried shorts, and then you finally got those shorts to cover a little bit, but nothing crazy. Look, if you look at last week's highs, way up here, way up there. So we had an inside week, pretty much. We basically flirted more with last week's lows. Now, when I mean last week, not actually last week, this is the previous weeks. So we flirted with those lows a couple times. Tried to go lower and didn't. That was kind of a sign that we're probably going to go higher. So that's what happened in the Qs, okay? But in the overall scheme, if you take this range, 393 about, to down here to about 383, that's $10 range. We pretty much been in that range for a while now, okay? All right, where are we now? 391.80. 391.80. You're like at the upper portions again of Friday's range. Okay. So I would say this is still the weakest structural wise out of the indexes, right? Let's go to the Dow. Look at the Dow. Dow made a very big move, right? Very big move. And in this range, right? Like, so the Dow kind of pushed up, held this tight little range now. Okay. So it's a very compressed range. All right. So this is either going to go down or up here. Nice move. Nice consolidation here in the Dow. All right. Where are we looking at? And we're looking at the IWM. It just got a little more of a lift. Okay. IWM, notice, a lot different. This is last week's range. It closed above. So relatively stronger. See what it did here? Consolidated, and look at that little fake out here. Opened here, dipped down below the 200 and 100 day, and wham, and held. So it's consolidating again. Remember, this has been relatively weak. So there could be some room for the IWM to possibly go back up to here around 191, 190, okay? Where's the Russell now? It is at 187. 187, so right at the top of the range. Same, but stronger. Okay? All right. So now we're going to basically look at, you can look at, I don't need to even to go into the bond market that much. The bond market is up again. So I'm assuming we're going to get a little pullback here in yields. So see, kind of hit this right here, almost the 4.0. It's pretty much a straight yields going down, which means bonds are being bought. This is just a pullback. It could possibly go up. Remember, unemployment ticked down. Okay, unemployment ticked down, and we didn't. We added more jobs again. So that could look like in the bond market, the Fed is got more work to do, higher for longer a little bit, right? Even though the market didn't care about that, the bond market did. So that's important to note. Okay. Now, what I want to do is just getting to the top four sectors, including semis, and just look at the components of the S&P. It's what I like to do on the weekends because, if you just look at this S&P without looking at the guts of the S&P, then it doesn't make much sense. You got to know what's going on, right? So what to look at? What are we going to look at? So let's look at I'm going to change my chart over. We'll go to sectors. Okay. Oh, that's not the one I wanted. Let's go to sectors. All right, so if we look at XLK. Now XLK, just so everybody knows, I always put this up there. This is the weights in the S&P. These are the sector weights, okay? This is what makes up S&P 500. So 29, you can see it right here, 29.1% of the S&P is Infotech, XLK. That's your Microsoft, your Apple, your Nvidia. It makes up 29% of the market. So pretty much what XLK does, the market's going to do, right? Now, healthcare just lost its spot. Financials is now the number 2 sector. It's at 12.9% of the S&P. Then you got healthcare at 12.7, not far behind, and then consumer discretionary at 10.7. Those are the top 4 sectors in the S&P. So you need to follow what they're doing. Communications is 8.6, industrials 8.3. But the big 4, okay? Now Infotech, I told you, that's Apple, Nvidia, Microsoft, right? Healthcare, that's United Healthcare, Johnson & Johnson, all right, Merck, right? Financials, Berkshire Hathaway, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, okay, Wells Fargo, consumer discretionary, Amazon, Tesla, Home Depot. So that's how those are broken down. So I just wanted to show you guys. So we're going to look at these. All right, XLK is at all-time highs. That's at all-time highs, okay, and it's consolidating. All right, it's consolidating. Look at this rise, and then whenever you rise like that, you need to rest. You need to take a break. So it's either going to rip up higher, or we're going to break down, maybe test this trend line here. Okay, so that looks strong, right? You had Apple make a nice move, right? So that looks strong. Okay, so that looks strong. Biggest weight in the sector. Now, let's move over to number 2. Who just took over number 2 is financials. Okay, let's look at that together. Financials, look at these moves, right? Big move past the 100-day financials, and just literally buying. Finally took a rest last week. Okay, finally took a rest. So it's at rest, and it's coiling to make a move up or move down, right? Now, if you get the move down to here, last week's lows, if you get this move down, that could possibly be the buying opportunity by the 20 simple day moving average for the Santa Claus. Okay, if that happens, right? Let's look at healthcare. Healthcare took a little dip last week. Well, moved sideways really, but but the trend is up. It cleared the 200-day and 100-day, and now resting, right? So you can see you had a leg up, you had a swing low, you moved up, another swing low, and now you're coiling up, right? This is your United Healthcare, Johnson & Johnson stuff. So Johnson & Johnson, United Healthcare. But if you look at United Healthcare, it's doing the same thing. It's coiling, but it's almost it's at highs, right? So this is something I'm very, very interested in. Okay, if you get a pullback here, very interested in this, above all the moving averages. Okay, this would be a nice move. Maybe you get to 134. Okay, very, very interesting, right? So you got XLK rest, right? We had financials resting, healthcare resting. See, so these didn't really break out like SPY, right? If you look at the components, they kind of were muted a little bit. So let's look at the fourth horseman here. That is discretionary. Okay, discretionary just broke a downtrend last week. Remember, Tesla, Amazon, Home Depot. So this has been really ugly. So I was interested here, and then we gapped. Well, I was like, great, right? And then I was interested here, and then look what happened. Fake out. Went right back. This has been ugly how this has been moving. I'm not really a fan of how it's been moving. So you got this uptrend line here. So yes, last week you can see that it closed above last week's high. So this has been pretty strong last week. And you can see it didn't just coil like the other ones. It kind of closed here, but still broke a downtrend. So I would like to see it. Now if we can push this out a little bit so you can see the trend line a little better here. Alright, so I would like to see maybe come up here and touch here eventually, about 171 on this trend line, in the back of the downtrend line, to push higher into the end of the year. That'd be nice. That'd be nice because you see this movement, that is really ugly. So I'd like to get a push, a pullback, and then see something in the cards here. Okay. So let's look at semis. Semiconductors, right, in a downtrend, right, hit the downtrend on Friday, right, came all the way down here past the 20-day simple moving average, right, kind of this big resistance that became support here, 157, pushed up here. All right, that's what's going on in semis. Then you have XLC, it's communications. We'll end it off with that. Broke downtrend here. See this downtrend? Broke it. Closed here. But this is like in a mess. I'm not really loving how XLC is looking. Maybe get a pullback to this trend line here to take a Santa Claus, right? I don't really like the chart of XLC too much. Okay. So that's the sectors. Okay, nothing crazy, right? We're coiling for a move. And you can get a pullback. If you go back to XLK, you can get a pullback. Look, it pretty much stayed within last week, right? And either we get a blow off top to come back here to the support of 181, right? Or we just come back here to buy. Or do we just go crazy into the end of the year? I don't know. But these are the components you need to look at. Okay? So that's that. I'm going to go in real quickly and today analyze the market profile. All right. It's my favorite way to gauge structure in this market. Okay. All right. Let's look at what's going on in this market. Let's look at the structure. Okay, so this is rolling week. So we got some movement here. All right, here we go. Now, let's look at this together. So we're above the most 45.70. That was the most traded price of the month. That was a huge level, right? So market pushed and basically got all these highs. All right, but it didn't make a monster move. So what is it doing now? Right? So it's holding the high prices. So that's bullish. Okay, that's bullish. So in the held monthly VWAP, notice this is monthly VWAP. Kind of really came down here, right there, pushed up off of that, right? So what do we have here? Just looking off the bat, inventory is pretty balanced. You see a very nice bell curve here. That's pretty balanced in the overnight. Not much edge there. That's just showing you equal buyers and sellers. But structure-wise, we're above these big levels. We're above the breakout level. We're holding it. Okay. And market's just saying, hey, we accept these higher prices. We accept it. Right? What are the nuances here? You got a weak high here. Weak highs are just confluence. So that means that buyers have poor location here. Whoever bought here didn't work out so good for them, right? But there's also sellers now here, right? So that's a breakout point again. Okay. Now the other part, it lines up perfectly. Here's your breakout level right here. It's around 45.96, 45.97. You can call it 40. Yeah, right here. That's the 50%. That's the mid, the halfway back. This is the 50% Fibonacci retracement of Friday. Okay, almost lines up with the overnight low. So this level here and this level here is the area that's of importance. Okay, because if the market does open up and winds up coming down here to test the breakout point, right, that's the decision here for the market to either go, okay, we're going to hold this and break this week high to push up, right? Now, does that happen before CPI tomorrow and FOMC? I don't know. It could. People just anticipating CPI is going to be a nothing burger and the pause. Because I don't see much surprise coming in the week. I don't really see a surprise coming. So it might just be baked in, right? And we could break out. So that's really what the story of the day is, okay? If we're going to talk about scenarios, because that's all I have time left for in this thing, because I covered some other things. So if we go for the scenarios today, we're looking at this point here. This is all really that it's about. Breakout level, 50% of the move on Friday. Okay, right here. This area right there. Okay, if we're bullish, right? For me, you're gonna hope for somehow we come back down here, and we're gonna test this. And this is the time for if the buyers buy the dip or the sellers are too strong, and we start working our way back into range. Okay, but if you're bullish, right? If this is the bull scenario, we're gonna look dip, higher low, and you're gonna go attack that weak high and try to push up. There's a gap up here. I'm not even sure if that's accurate. I'm not even gonna go into that gap because that gap might be an old drawing or something. So forget that. So, but there is supply overhead. We can maybe touch that supply. Okay. Now, if we're talking about a bear move, okay, this is the other way. Okay. Now, if we come up here, now this is the area the bulls to defend. Okay. Now, if we come up, this could definitely happen. Push up, bust the weak high, and then if we come back through, make some higher lows, and there's the overnight, most traded price of the overnight, we could come back and we push through this 50% and we start going back into range. Everybody, we're going to go right back to 45.70. And most either bounce here or test the bottom of the range. Okay? That's really what the scenarios are. Now, again, these are only scenarios. I don't know what's going to happen. The market might just bounce around today, waiting for tomorrow. So what could that look like, right? If you just got balance today, we could move up, right? Come up here, come back, and then just balance off here, right? We can come down here, push back up, and balance off here for the next couple days. That could happen too. All right. So that's going to be it for me today. All right. If you enjoyed what I had to say, subscribe, set an alert. That would mean a lot. If you liked what you saw, give me a like, a big thumbs up. That would mean a lot. You could always follow me on X at Gonzo719. And I wish everybody good luck. All right. Like I said, be patient. It's Monday morning. I don't expect a lot today, but that doesn't mean anything because something could happen. So everybody have a great day, and I'll see everybody tomorrow for CPI.